Well, hi everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Another album ranking today. My last ranking did really well. Thank you for all who watched when I ranked Radiohead albums. Today, I'm ranking the Beatles. 13 studio albums. Yes, I'm including Yellow Submarine and Magical Mystery Tour. Even though it's not an official UK album, it's still a great record by them. But before I start, if you're only going to own one CD box set, I highly recommend the Beatles in Stereo CD box set. Because not only does it have all the studio albums, but it has the past masters, which has all the singles. Because the Beatles did things very stupidly, but the way it was done back then was they had singles and albums. So songs like "Hey Jude," "Day Tripper," "From Me to You," "I Want to Hold Your Hand," they weren't on albums in the UK. They were in the US, but they weren't in the UK. And even some of the big hits in the US, like "Can't Buy Me Love," they weren't released as singles in the UK because they were on the albums. But Capitol did things differently. The UK did things differently as well. And I know. The mono supposedly sounds better. I'm not reviewing this the audio wise. The albums by how they sound. As far as stereo and mono, it's just the quality of the music. All right. Well, let's begin. Okay, make sure. Yep, 13. All right, number 13. Comes as no surprise. Yellow Submarine. Um, yeah, the worst thing about this album is that it just has majority of songs that we've heard on side one. It has Yellow Submarine, All You Need Is Love, 4 new songs, and then the film score. And the 4 new songs actually probably would have worked better on other albums as well. But I love Only a Northern Song, All Together Now. It's Hey Bulldog is awesome, and It's All Too Much. But yeah, number 13, Yellow Submarine. Number 12 is a controversial one because I think a lot of people think highly of this album. And I'm going to have to disagree respectfully. I don't think it's bad, but for a debut. But I'm going to put Please Please Me at number 12. Obviously, this was the album that started it all for them. Has the big hit Love Me Do, which the reason why this is repeated is because it's a different version of Love Me Do than the single version. I think the single version doesn't have Ringo on drums, but the album version, they re-recorded it. I Saw Her Standing There, one of the best songs. I really like Boys. Please Please Me, the song, wasn't a single in the UK. P.S. I Love You is great. I love their cover of Baby It's You. Of course, Twist and Shout. I mean, who doesn't know that? Yeah. Number 12, though. Strong debut, but you could tell that they were going to make better songs later on. Okay. Number 11, we have Meet the Beatles, the second album. And, yeah, this one is kind of similar. It does have a lot more songs that they personally wrote, like It Won't Be Long, All I've Gotta Do, All My Lovin', of course, being the big hit. We have Not a Second Time is great. I really like the first song George wrote, Don't Bother Me. It's really dark, kind of Stones-ish almost. But yeah, this one is just them still finding their footing. And I think that's why this album ranks lower for me, but it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. All right, number 10 is the very much overhated Let It Be. So when I first got into the Beatles, this was kind of the album that I was really interested in hearing. Because it's their last album, and I was so underwhelmed when I first heard this. because of course we all know the story. They were recording the album as part of a documentary film, and there were a lot of tensions between band members. Certain band members walked out, like George left, and then they picked up the pieces, basically abandoned this album, and went on to make Abbey Road. And then a year later, after they had already basically officially broken up, they released this. There's some good stuff on here. I love Across the Universe. I love Two of Us. Not the biggest Long and Winding Road fan. Not the biggest fan of One After 909 or even the album version of Let It Be. I prefer the single version, which has a more clean guitar solo. But this one is it's an okay album. But for the last Beatles album, I could tell why it was such a disappointment. All right, number 9. Yep, number 9. Okay, you have to check now. Help at number 9. Yeah, this is kind of, obviously, again, this is the soundtrack. Well, it's not a soundtrack. It has songs from the film Help with other songs. My biggest problem with this album is that the songs from the film are like 10 times better than the B-side songs. I really love, basically the first half of this album is really, really great. Obviously Help, The Night Before, You've Gotta Hide Your Love Away is probably my favorite Beatles song, where it's one of them. I Need You, Another Girl, You're Gonna Lose That Girl, and Ticket to Ride. Now the songs on side B, Act Naturally, never really cared for. It's Only Love, I tend to agree with John, kind of is schmaltzy a little bit. You Like Me Too Much, not George's Finest Hour. I like Tell Me What You See, I've Just Seen a Face, and Yesterday. They're probably the only 3 songs on side B that I really, really like. But yeah, definitely not a terrible album. Very good by their standards, but they would do much better on the album I have ranked next, which is number 8. Hard Day's Night. Now, the reason why this ranks higher is because I actually like the songs on side B, maybe even better than the ones on side A. Obviously, love this movie, Hard Day's Night, first off, one of the best music movies. Yeah, side 1, of course, song Hard Day's Night. I should have known better if I fell. I'm Happy Just to Dance With You with vocals from George. And I love her beautiful song, Tell Me Why. Can't Buy Me Love, Anytime at All. I'll Cry Instead, actually, technically, on side B, technically is in the movie. Certain screenings would have an intro with I'll Cry Instead to have, like, stills from the movie. Things We Said Today, one of my favorite Beatles songs. When I Get Home. You Can't Do That, I'll Be Back. Great album. Again, the songs on side B arguably better than the songs on side A. But great album, A Hard Day's Night. Number 7, we go to, and a controversial one, because people, including the Rolling Stone for a time, had this ranked number 1 as the greatest album of all time. I have to disagree, but I still really like it. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Obviously iconic, all the people on the cover. But yeah, this album to me is massively, massively overrated. I think because it has so many iconic moments on it, people kind of pump air into it a little bit too much. Obviously, A Day in the Life, one of the best closing tracks. I don't mind Within You, Without You. A lot of people hate that one because of the East Indian influence. I don't hate that song. I just find, like, the album kind of just, like, I skip around this album a lot. That's my problem. I don't listen to this. I've never felt the need to listen to this as far as an album experience. I've heard it once or twice all the way through, all 13 songs. And then I just kind of skip around it a little bit. Obviously, I had to re-listen to it, so maybe 3 or 4 times. But yeah, this isn't something I sit down and listen to all 13 songs. And for an album is considered the greatest of all time, I kind of need it to have that. And yeah, but still great. I mean, stuff like When I'm 64. I even like the more vaudeville-ish tracks, like you know, Fixing a Hole kind of has that kind of theatrical vibe, Getting Better, with a little help from my friends. Yeah, but as far as having a cohesive concept or anything, I don't really get it. Yeah, but a great album. Still, it's like a 9 out of 10 album, though. Yeah, Sgt. Pepper. Number 6, we have one of the most underrated albums of all time, in my opinion. I don't know why this album isn't talked about more as one of the great records. Magical Mystery Tour. Controversially, not released as an album in the UK until 1976 because this is a Capitol album. For those of you who don't know, in the UK, the Beatles were released through Parlophone and EMI. In the US, they were released through Capitol. And what Capitol did was they would just create compilation albums of their UK albums. They would throw the track listing, they would chop them up, they would put hits. Basically, they're all greatest hits albums in the US, including this one. So side B of this has stuff like All You Need Is Love, Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, which were all released as singles. So that's why they weren't on the UK. That's why it was in the UK album of this. And to be honest, I really feel like that was the right thing. I think that this needed to be a full-length album because even though I do like a lot of the songs from the film, the TV film, like Magical Mystery Tour, Blue Jay Way, I'm the Walrus, great stuff. I feel like this flows really well as an album. All You Need Is Love is a great closer. Hello Goodbye kicks off side 2 really well. But yeah, great stuff. Sorry, Brit Bongers. US did the right thing. So, great album at number 6. Number 5 is going to be a lot of people's number 1. And I'm sorry to disappoint you. Number 5, I'm going Abbey Road. There was a time when I thought this was the most overrated Beatles album. Because I love the first couple songs, Come Together Something. Maxwell's Silver Hammer is... Oh Darling is... I like it more over time. Octopus's Garden, it's a Ringo song. I Want You, She's So Heavy is the most overrated, overlong, annoying Beatles song that has... It rivals Revolution 9 with how much I want to turn it off. I'm just saying. Here Comes the Sun, masterpiece. Because You Never Give Me Your Money, Sun King. See, I could cut those 3 songs out, and then you have the great medley from Mean Mr. Mustard all the way to the end, which is just so good. Songs like Polythene Pam, She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, I always really loved. And then You Don't Need Her Majesty. I don't even know why it's on this album. But yeah, this album's really great. I don't think it's one of the greatest of all time as far as the Beatles, but it is a very good album. It's getting there. Maybe with a couple more listens, it'll be number 1. All right, number 4. We're in the top 5. My dad hates this album, but I love it. The White Album by the Beatles. Love the quadrifold that they did here with all 4 photos. Comes with the poster that has like nude pictures on it or whatever. Anyway, yeah, this album should not work as well as it does. This album is all over the freaking place. You get stuff like Back in the USSR, Dear Prudence, Glass Onion, Obla Di Obla Da, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Happiness is a Warm Gun. Just inside two second record. This is a double album. Second record, Birthday, Mother Nature's Son, Revolution 9. It's just all over the place, but it works somehow. I don't know how. It's avant-garde. It's psychedelic like Sgt. Pepper and Magical Mystery Tour, but not in the same way. It's just all over the freaking place, but I love it, and I could listen to it over and over again. I don't care what anyone says. I think this is great. One of the best double albums in my opinion. The White Album by the Beatles. So that's number 4. Number 3 is going to shock a lot of people. I'm shocked myself that it ranked this high. Beatles for Sale. Look at how fucking dejected and depressed and angry they look. These guys were done with Beatlemania. They were done with the touring, the fans, and you definitely get that vibe sometimes on this album. I really just like the different songs on this album. No Reply kicks it off great. Some of their most disjointed and interesting songs for this era. This is 1964. I'm a Loser, Babies in Black, I'll Follow the Sun I really like. I love their cover of Kansas City, Hey, Hey, Hey. 8 Days a Week, obviously classic. Every Little Thing is great. I Don't Want to Spoil the Party, What You're Doing, and then their cover of Carl Perkins, Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby, which ends this album out. This album is just super underrated. If Magical Mystery Tour is underrated, this album is even more underrated. This album is extremely underrated. I don't know why this isn't talked about as one of the Beatles' great albums, but it definitely needs to be, because I think this one, you can definitely get the precursor of what they would be doing in the next couple years. So number 3, Beatles for Sale. Number 2 also shocked me, because this was my number 1 for the longest time. But one album kept ranking, kept raising and ranking, getting higher and higher. And I just couldn't believe it. Number 2 is Revolver. See? Revolver. Now, I thought this was going to be my favorite basically forever, because I was dumb enough to even spend the money on these ridiculously overpriced box sets that they make for the albums. I bought the Revolver one, which is great, but yeah, it's definitely always wait to get these. I got this for $75. It's like $200 when they come out, which is way too much money. It's a little dusty, sorry. Yeah, that's how much I love this album. I do love this, but it's number 2 because I just feel like this album is just less and less enjoyable for some reason. And maybe it's because I've heard it so many times. That could definitely be a reason why. I love the packaging they do for these CDs, by the way. But anyway, I guess it's just because, like I said, I've heard this a bunch. I know this album so well. Taxman, Eleanor Rigby, I'm Only Sleeping, Love You Too, Here, There, Everywhere, The Yellow Submarine, She Said, She Said. Like, that first side alone is just amazing. Then it gets even better on side 2. Good Day Sunshine, and your bird can sing. For No One, Dr. Robert, I Want to Tell You, Gotta Get You Into My Life, and of course the experimental Tomorrow Never Knows that ends this album out. Some of George's best writing. I think he does 3 songs on this album, and he does them all great. I Want to Tell You is probably my favorite song on this album. Yeah, this is just a masterpiece over and over. But it's not number 1, but it's still really a masterpiece. Number 1 This album, for some reason, has just meant a lot to me as I get older. And, oh, I knocked him over. It's no sin. Anyway, this album means a lot to me. Rubber Soul. Some people say the American version of this is better. It isn't. I wish Day Tripper was on this album, but it's not. Drive My Car is great. Norwegian Wood. Hair Raising. You Won't See Me. I really like Nowhere Man. One of their best songs. Think for Yourself. George, again, just going above and beyond. The Word. Michelle. What goes on? Girl. I'm Looking Through You. Wait, If I Needed Someone. Again, another great George song that I love. Just has their most diverse track list at this time. This album flows really well also. This is a great record from beginning to end, and one that has impacted my life a lot recently. So I'm playing Rubber Soul at number 1. And so that's it. Let me know how you guys rank the Beatles albums, and if you agree or disagree. Thank you. Have a good day.